Power to the truth. This is Margo. This is Wednesday, May 1st, 2019, 6:31 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. So we're looking at this Tropical Cyclone Fani, F-A-N-I, that's making landfall in India today, and it's awful. Here it was yesterday where it was coming up to shore. It's been hanging around in this Indian Ocean for the last few days, but it's been building and gathering up steam, and so here it is today. So we're going to look at this, and we're going to look at some weather in the United States, and we're going to look at some sea ice, and then we're going to do a little update on the Oroville lake level, and then we're going to look at earthquakes. So that's the plan for tonight. So I hope everyone is having a good day, and just sit back and let's see what we can see. So I've got this article pulled up from AccuWeather. See if I can close a bunch of this stuff out. This one is about Cyclone Fani. This is from May 1st. More than 100 million in the path of life-threatening Cyclone Fani. Cyclone Fani continues to strengthen as it tracks over the Bay of Bengal and may make a direct hit on the eastern Indian coastline later this week. More than 100 million people are in the potential path of this life-threatening tropical cyclone. Fani is currently an extremely severe cyclonic storm with winds equal to a Category 4 hurricane in the Atlantic or East Pacific Oceans. So they're anticipating that it makes landfall and then just goes right up this east side. So that's through Saturday. Additional strengthening is expected into Thursday as Fani could bring winds in excess of 213 kilometers per hour or 132 miles per hour, equal to a Category 4 hurricane. There is a chance that Fani could briefly become a super cyclonic storm equivalent to a Category 5 hurricane during this time. Fani is expected to remain a powerful and dangerous cyclone as it approaches and makes landfall along the coast of eastern India between Thursday night and midday Friday. And they're about 12 hours ahead. So it's already Friday. It's Friday morning there. So residents from northern Thursday morning there. Thursday morning. It's Wednesday night here. It's Thursday morning there. Residents from northern Andhra Pradesh to Odisha, Jharkhand, West Bengal, and Bihar are at risk for impacts from the approaching cyclone. And there's another picture of it. The satellite image of it on Wednesday today. Areas along the coast, such as Kakinda and Visakhapatnam to the border with Bangladesh, will have to deal with rough seas, and varying levels of coastal flooding. In advance, Fani's arrival, operations at Paradeep Port in Odisha were suspended beginning on Wednesday night. East Coast Railway has canceled 74 trains in the coming days due to the expected poor weather due to Cyclone Fani. Cities from Brahmapur to Puri could be dealt a direct hit with impacts ranging from destructive winds to flooding downpours and an inundating coastal storm surge. Locations near and just east of where landfall occurs can experience wind gusts in excess of 210 kilometers per hour or 130 miles per hour that could result in widespread damage to all structures. So, Fani impacts Thursday through Sunday, damaging winds, flooding, mudslides, storm surge, and rough seas. So it's not looking good for India. As Fani tracks inland Friday night into Saturday, it will weaken, lowering the risk for damaging winds across Jharkhand, Bihar, and West Bengal. However, locally damaging winds and flooding rainfall will still be possible. While Fani will begin weakening prior to reaching Kolkata, downpours and damaging winds will be possible from Friday afternoon into Saturday. From Saturday night into Sunday, Fani will weaken into a tropical rainstorm as it tracks over Bangladesh and northeast India. During this time, life-threatening flooding is still possible, along with an elevated risk for mudslides across the rugged terrain of the region. Rainfall amounts of 150 to 300 millimeters or 6 to 12 inches will be possible from far northeast Andhra Pradesh and Odisha into parts of West Bengal, northern Bangladesh, and northeast India through Sunday. The hardest hit locations could have an AccuWeather local storm max of 500 millimeters or 20 inches. So we gotta keep all those people in India in our prayers. That's not looking good. So there's that. I will leave the link below to these articles. Next, we're going to go over to the United States. And here's what's happening in the United States. Over half the country is covered up with some kind of weather system, it looks like. And it's crazy. And I live over in the Reno, Nevada area over here. It's clear now, but it's clearing out, but we had a cold front move in, and we had snow and rain, not down here in the valley, but up in the mountains they had snow, and it can snow anytime around here if you're up in the mountains, but so here's the Sierra Nevadas, so that you can see there's the snow on them. And here's Reno right here. So, but then you come to the east, and starting from almost all of Texas except for the plains and the western part of Texas are covered up, and then Oklahoma, Nebraska, Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, Ohio, Wisconsin, Michigan. All of those states, it's insane what's going on. And then up here in the Northeast, they're all covered up. And then there's stuff going on up here in Canada. So let's look at from AccuWeather. Here's the severe weather map for the United States, and you can see that it's all over the place. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Like freezing rain warning, that's up here in Canada. Freezing rain warning. And the green is flood warning. The yellow is severe thunderstorm watch. The olive green is flash flood watch. And the dark green is flood watch. So green is basically flood watch and rainfall. And then if you just scroll down, there's all these articles. Storms leave trail of damage and downed trees. That's a video. Mississippi River crests to challenge historic floods even as rain departs. There's a picture. The streets are just covered up with water there. Dallas, Little Rock, and Indianapolis among cities at risk for severe weather and flash flooding. AccuWeather 2019 U.S. summer forecast. Look, it's all orange and red. Tornadoes, hail, and flash flooding spread damage across central U.S. Onlookers capture breathtaking photos and video of monstrous tornado roaring through field in Romania. Late season snowstorm dumps heavy snow across Rockies and prompts travel advisories. Severe weather may have caused crane collapse. That was on the Google building where the crane collapsed. So let's look at 2019 U.S. summer forecast, just for the heck of it. Well, they have to play all these ads. Summer weather will waste no time spreading across the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic this season as heat arrives in June. Okay, so here we go. We're going to have hot in Georgia and the Carolinas, very warm and drier up in the Northeast, very humid in the Mid-South, severe thunderstorms from Texas up through Nebraska, not as hot, and showers over in the western part, and hot and dry in the Northwest and a lot of California. That's what they've got so far. Okay, the Midwest and Central Plains will see more of a gradual transition. Meanwhile, the Northern Plains will benefit from a below normal season for severe weather, while the Southern Plains are battered by flooding, rainfall, and severe storms and hurricanes. We're going to be heading into hurricane season before long. There will be no delay to the start of the summer in the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, and Great Lakes as heat surges into the regions during June. Summer is going to make its entrance right off the bat. We're going to have some back and forth weather in June, but that will get more consistent in July. The warmth will provoke a less stable atmosphere, meaning a few severe weather events are possible early on. Overall, the summer will welcome more 90-degree and above days than last year's, when frequent precipitation held back daytime high temperatures. Meanwhile, rain will fall less frequently, leading to the possibility of minor drought conditions developing in the interior Northeast. For the I-95 corridor, it's going to be a much better summer than we saw last year weather-wise. I think we'll notice a lot of vacation traffic as the warmer weather brings people out to the beaches, Pastor Locke said. Southeast Tennessee Valley and Gulf Coast, after an abundance of rain over the past year in the southeast Tennessee Valley and Gulf Coast, the eastern half of the region will see a return to drier conditions. This may make it easier for residents to spend time outdoors and tend to do-it-yourself projects. Wet and humid weather will instead target western areas of those regions. The lower Mississippi Valley and the Delta region will be under the gun for flooding going into the summer season. Rain and even heavy thunderstorms could lead to flooding in cities like Memphis, Tennessee, and Little Rock, Arkansas. Well, Little Rock is pretty high up. The abundance of rainfall so far this year will help to hold back high temperatures across much of the region. There are going to be periods of hotter weather in the eastern zones, but areas across the lower Mississippi Valley will struggle to climb. Midwest Central Plains. After enduring heavy rain and snow over the past several months, the Midwest and Central Plains will see a gradual transition to summer's heat. Soil moisture is a big deal. It can dictate temperatures and how high they can get. In these locations, the moisture will help to hold back the heat into the first half of the season. After that, it will depend on how frequently storms come. It's predicted that temperatures in the region will average near to below normal for the season as a whole. As for severe weather, the Midwest and Central Plains may remain active, but could see a lower than normal number of tornadoes this season. However, meteorologists are closely watching eastern Tornado Alley from the eastern plains into the Mississippi Valley for outbreaks of wind and hail events. It goes on. This is kind of long. Well, I'll leave the link below in case people want to read this. I didn't know it was going to be that long. But you saw the map. And I think it's going to be much worse than this guy thinks because of abrupt climate change. That's just my thought. Now, the next thing I want to look at is I have this is the sea ice thickness from the Navy. This is for May the 1st, and this is for the Arctic. And so we're seeing a lot of purple where it was a little bit of blue. Now it's into the purple range, and so that shows that it's getting thinner as it's starting to melt with the sun up there. And so we're seeing Greenland is almost ice-free for the majority of, from about the middle part down, and then up on either side it's pretty much ice-free. We can see that Svalbard is ice-free on the southern end and a lot of on the eastern side. And we can see Novaya Zemlya is pretty much ice-free on this western side, and it's ice-free along the coast for most of it. but it's very thin. And this is where in the Kara Sea that we've been seeing that methane releasing, and also on this Yamal Peninsula. And then we can see it thinning out here as we move across into this Laptev Sea. And then over here in the Chukchi Sea and this East Siberia ice shelf, it's really melted. It's the ice that's there is very thin, and we can see along the coastline it's pretty much ice free for a lot of it already. So it's early in the season, and it's melted here by this little island. So it's very early in the season for it to be that thin. And then on the Bering Strait, that's pretty much ice free. It's just a little wisp of that violet color. And then down here in these tributaries, it's already melting. And we have the thickest right along here on the northern part of Canada and this little northern edge of Greenland. But it's not much. It's not much of the thick ice, and most of it is about 2 meter and lower. So there's that. Now, this is the Navy GIF for 30 days. It's back for 3 weeks, and then it goes and does a forecast for 1 week. So this is what it's been doing. Starting on April the 10th, it looks like. And then they're showing how, oh, and look over here in this Okhotsk Sea of Okhotsk. See how that ice is just melting really fast. Here's the Hudson Bay. It's melting pretty fast too. This is the Baffin Bay by Greenland. So there's that. Now we're going to take a little tour of the Arctic sea ice today, just to see what it's looking like up here for May the 1st. So here's Greenland, and we can see on this west side that is definitely ice free along there. Here's the sea ice, and this is a pretty good viewing day. There's not a lot of clouds, so you can see the condition of the sea ice here. And this is in that Baffin Bay. So in a lot of these areas there's just like no ice up by the coastline. Here over on the east side we can see just a little thin layer. Now we're looking through some clouds here, but this is the edge of the ice here. Just a little bit, just a little wispy part. And now we're coming up to the top part of Greenland. And so this is pretty broken up already, so this will be melting very quickly, I anticipate, as it starts warming up. And here's this northern part, and it's already see, it's already started melting in these tributaries here, so it's pretty early for that, I think. May 1st. And we can see a lot of cracks in the sea ice. Here's Svalbard, and this whole southern part. See, there's no ice along here. And then we'll just move on up. Here's Novaya Zemlya, and we can see that up to about half of half of it, well, once you get onto the northern island here, there's no ice along the side, that eastern side. Western side is pretty clear. Let's see what yesterday looks like. Well, that's not any better. Here, this is a better view. This is from the 29th without as many clouds. And so we can see that it's already breaking up along the edges. And look at this northern edge. It's already melted up there. So whatever ice is up there is really thin, like that's in that little the lavender color. So see what you see there is just very thin and fragile, and it's going to be melting very quickly. Trying to get a day where it's just different with the clouds on different days. That's probably the best. And here's where they've been running their icebreaker through to that gas plant that was just built. The Russians, they've got their icebreaker that runs through there. And then now we're coming on around, and we can see huge areas of open water between the sea ice. Huge areas here. See, here's all open water along. It's like this ice sheet, kind of like this other ice is breaking away from this more solid ice that's up by the coast there. So that's really disintegrating fast already. This is in the Chukchi Sea. And this is the East Siberia ice shelf. It's underneath there. It's all along there. But that's breaking up fast and melting fast. Now, and this is still in the Chukchi Sea. We can see the ice broken up there. Now as we come into, here's the Bering Strait, and here's Alaska, and here's Russia, and so you can see whatever little film of ice is just very little. So it's early for that to have melted like that. And we can see that the ice is breaking away from the coastline. Here's Barrow, and so this is ice free along here. Here's Wainwright is right along in here for our friend Alfred. So we can see that's pretty much ice free there. And then coming on into this Beaufort Sea, it's all broken up already. And then in this Amundsen Gulf, we can see that's deteriorating quickly here. And then here's Canada. See, it's already, there's open water right there already. So that's our tour of the Arctic. We will do this more and more frequently as the ice starts melting. Oh, by the way, in case people were trying to get on Climate Reanalyzer, they had problem with their cloud server and the whole website is down, and so they're working on it, and it's been down for a couple of days, and they're hoping to have it back up by maybe tomorrow. They put a notice on Facebook. So it's not just you, it's everybody who can't get on Climate Reanalyzer right now. So there's that. Now let's look at the current water levels at the Oroville Dam. Let's see, at 6 o'clock it was 884.17 feet. Now this inflow has slowed down, and so the outflow is slowed down too, but the inflow is slowed way down the last day or so. Well, today, because it's colder. We had a cold front and they had it over there too, but it's going to be getting warmer, and so the snow will start melting again. But it's still coming up. 884.17 minus 883.61. That's what it was at midnight. It's still gone up over half a foot since midnight. And yesterday it went up exactly 1 foot. And here's the weather forecast for the Chico area, Chico and Oroville. It's been cooler. The high was only 77, and it says we're several degrees cooler than 24 hours ago across Northern California. Valley areas have dipped into the 40s to low 50s overnight, and mountain areas are starting out in the 20s to 30s this morning. And we had a hard freeze here last night and night before last in Reno. It was cold, but it's warming back up now. A frost advisory is in place for the northern mountains through 9 a.m. and a freeze warning is in place for the eastern slopes of the Sierra through the same time. An extra layer is recommended this morning. Skies will be clear and mostly sunny today. Winds will be out of the north to 10 miles per hour, but we could see a shift to south winds to 10 miles per hour in the North Valley this afternoon. High temperatures will end up around 5 degrees warmer than yesterday. Valley areas will top out in the high 70s to low 80s this afternoon, and the mountain areas will end up in the 60s to 70s later today. So that's how much cooler it's been in the last day or so. And so the forecast, dry weather, sunny to mostly sunny skies, and a decent warming trend will be ahead for the rest of your work week. Temperatures will top out in the low to mid 80s in the valley on Thursday, and will then climb back into the high 80s on Friday and Saturday. So expect the snow to be melting and the lake level to be coming up higher. We'll be staying dry through Saturday. The potential for mainly mountain and foothill showers will return to our region on Sunday, and temperatures will drop back into the low 80s in the valley on Sunday. There will be a slight chance for some valley showers for the latter part of your weekend and the start of next week, but amounts aren't expected to be impressive. The potential for showers will continue in the mountains through Tuesday, and temperatures will stay in the high 70s to low 80s in the valley for the start of next week. Another warming trend will be possible towards the end of next week's forecast. So, there's the daily forecast. So, tomorrow it's going to get up in the 80s, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all in the 80s. So, that'll melt the snow. So, there's that. And now, let's move on to our earthquake report. We have USGS pulled up here for all magnitudes. For the last 24 hours, we're seeing 280 earthquakes. Now, of those, only 29 are 2.5 magnitude and higher. So we're going to start. Chirikoff Island, Alaska, there was a 3.0 that came in yesterday at 8 o'clock. Hold on. So we got plenty of time. I can start wherever I want on my earthquakes. Let's start down here in the South Pacific. We're going to start with this 5.0 near Hihifo, Tonga at 8:32 this morning, and a 4.3 near Nidoy Island, Fiji at 10:44 this morning. Now this was 518 kilometers deep, very deep. Now all these times I'm showing you are Pacific time because that's my time zone. And that's just easier for me to think in. Here's a 4.9 near Taran, Papua New Guinea at 4:33 this afternoon. And here's a 4.3 near Tobelo, Indonesia at 10:15 last night. Now up here in Afghanistan, a 4.4 near Jarm at 3:44 this morning, 91 kilometers deep. Moving on up to Russia, here's a 4.2 near Eso, Russia, on the Kamchatka Peninsula at 3:38 this afternoon, 165 kilometers deep. And remember we had these two earthquakes in the Atlantic Ocean yesterday? We got another one. We have a 4.6 at the northern mid-Atlantic ridge at 4:30 this morning. So I think that's all the international ones. So let's go to the Dominican Republic next. We're going to start with this 4.0 that came in today at 6:10 this evening near El Negro, Puerto Rico. It looks like it was on land. That's not big enough to do damage, but you could feel it, definitely. So I'll call them off. 2.2, 2.2, 1.5, 1.7, 1.4, 3.4, 2.7, 3.4. This is on land at the Dominican Republic near San Rafael del Yuma. This one came in at 4:51 this afternoon. Yeah. So there's that. Now let's move on over to Hawaii. We've got 10 here today. I'll call them off. 2.6 Waimea. 1.7, that's at Kilauea. 3.4, that's at Mauna Loa. 1.8 at Mauna Loa. 1.7, that's on the flank of Kilauea. 2.2, Pahala. 1.9 on the flank of Kilauea. 1.8 also on the flank. 2.2 Leilani Estates, and 1.7 Hawaii region. It looks like it's next to Mauna Loa. So, quite a bit of activity, and the largest one was this 3.4. Now here's Mauna Loa, here's the crater, and this 1.7 that just came in is in the crater, and these two are on the side. So there's that. Now let's move on up to Alaska. We've got 108 here for all magnitudes today. And of those, 10 are 2.5 magnitude or higher. Kobuk had a 4.1 and a 2.5. Those are both at Kobuk, it looks like. 2.5 Cape Yakataga. 2.6 Big Lake, that's at Anchorage. 2.5 King Salmon. 3.0 Chirikoff Island. 3.0 Chirikoff Island. 3.4 Sandpoint. 4.0 Unalaska. And 4.1 near the Kiska volcano. Now let's take a zoom in. Look at this one right here, this little one, 0.5 near Tananga volcano. See? This whole little island is a volcano, Tananga. And 0.5 is right there on the side. And remember we had this cluster here at ADAC yesterday? Well, we've got 14 here today. And they're small, they're microquakes, like a minus 0.5, minus 1.1, and so forth. And the highest one was a 1.9 out here in the ocean. Do y'all want to look at this? I was doing pretty good before I started doing the show, and now I'm getting hoarse. The Great Sitkan Island. It's probably a volcano. All of these islands, these Aleutian Islands, are volcanic. So I wonder if this is coming back to life. This is kind of a slice and dice, like NASA Worldview. Look at that straight line right there. Anyway. Yeah, this is, this looks like a volcano to me. The Great Sitkan Island. So it's having lots of earthquakes over there. Right there. Now moving on up. We saw that 4.0. We saw those. Anyway, I'm not going to mess with a lot of the small ones. Here's a 2.0 sand point. And so on. So we're seeing the movement spread out, moving up from Anchorage, and look at the cluster here in the mountain range. And coming down this Cook Inlet. And then look, we've got a couple of clusters at Kobuk. We've got this cluster of 15, and then we've got some more. These are Kobuk also. Here's 4 more. So there's a lot of mining going on up there. 1.4 Kotzebue, 2.1 Shishmaref, and so forth. Okay, let's come on down to the lower 48. Nothing on the east side. Let's see what's going on in Baja today. Got another one at 3.0. Same place as yesterday where those, 3 or 4 were. So this is a 3.0 near Estación Coahuila, Baja, Mexico. This happened at 5:56 this evening, or this afternoon. Now let's come up to Utah. 2.1 Enterprise, 1.1 Hilldale. Here we've got 2 at East Carbon City, a 1.9 at a minus 3.4 kilometer depth, and a 1.6 at a minus 1.3 kilometer depth. Here's one at Tree Mountain, a 0.9. It's just to the north of Great Salt Lake City. Now, let's see what's going on at Yellowstone. We're seeing 2, a 0.5 near Lehman, Montana, and a 1.6 magnitude quarry blast near Townsend, Montana at 10:45 this morning. Now coming up into the Pacific Northwest, let's look at our tremor map. Look, no tremors in the last 3 hours. That's a first. In the last 12 hours, we have 5 tremors. So it's really, the tremors are calmed down. Makes you wonder. In the last 24 hours, we've only had 0.9 hours of tremors, so less than 1 hour of tremors. So they're up here by Seattle and by Portland, and then down here by Medford and Redding. The main areas on the tremors. So let's see what we've got. We've got a 2.0 near Sequim, Washington at 12:37 this morning, and a 1.3 at the same place at 6:22 this morning. Here's a 1.2 near Mukilteo at 11:35 last night. Here's a 1.4 magnitude explosion near Colville at 10:36 this morning. And then we've got a 1.0 near Mount Hood Village, Oregon at 5:25 this morning at a negative 1.4 kilometer depth. Now Mount Hood is a volcano. And it looks like that's right in the top of the mountain. Right there. So with it being a negative depth, the epicenter of the earthquake is up in the mountain, indicating that there's magma moving up inside there. Here's a 1.2 near Grand Ronde, Oregon at 12:57 this morning at a negative 0.2 kilometer depth. And then coming down into Northern California, here's one just to the very southeast of Redding, a 2.1. They're calling it near Millville at 1:07 this morning. Now here's Chico, and right down here is the Oroville Dam, and this is the Oroville Lake that we're watching. Now let's come on over. 0.2 Portola, minus 0.1 Truckee, and we've got a whole bunch here by Fallon. This is southeast. Now Fallon is up here, right here, and it is literally in the middle of nowhere. There's an Indian colony there, and a naval air station, naval air force base, naval air base, right here. The whole town is basically the Navy air base. So we have 10 here, 45 kilometers southeast of Fallon. I'll call them off at 2.9. Now these started at 8:35 this morning. 1.1, 0.6, 0.9, 0.9, 2.3, 1.4, 2.7, 1.1, and 1.2. And that 1.2 came in at 5:33 this afternoon. So I don't know what's going on there. I mean, they could be drilling. I mean, there's no telling. And here's 2 more at Austin, Nevada. We saw a whole bunch here yesterday. We had a 1.9 and a 2.6 here at Austin today. And we did see that was near some mining or drilling operations. Here's a 1.8 magnitude explosion near Tonopah. 1.3 at Gabbs, Nevada. A couple down here at Hawthorne. Here's some more at Hawthorne. We've got 4 at Hawthorne. We've got a big one down here, 3.9. Normally they're small, but this is a 3.9, and that happened at 12:30 this afternoon. So there's an uptick not only in the number of earthquakes, but in the magnitude. We've only got 3 small ones in southern Nevada. Here's a 1.9 near Courant. And so on. Now let's come down this east side of California. Here's Mammoth Lakes and the Long Valley Caldera area. We've got 14 here today. Here's a 1.3 Round Valley, 1.4 Mammoth Lakes, 1.6 Mammoth Lakes. I'm trying to get the larger ones, and 1.4 Tom's Place. And the rest of them were under those, you know, ones and under. Uh-oh, here's a 3.0. I missed that. That's at Round Valley. That was at 10:41 this morning. So things are definitely moving. And I think tomorrow is the full moon, and that always gets earthquakes stirred up. I mean the new moon, yeah. 0.7 Little Lake, 1.5 Little Lake. Here's a 1.5 magnitude quarry blast at Boron at 4:27 this afternoon. Here's a 1.2 Bodfish and then a 2.1 at Bodfish. Those just came in. That one did. Now, here's a 1.4 Pear Blossom, 1.0 Yucaipa. Here's a 1.6 magnitude quarry blast near Big Bear City. Here's a 1.3 magnitude quarry blast near Chula Vista, right on the southern border with Mexico. 1.4 and a 1.2, both off the coast of La Jolla. Now, in Southern California today, we've got 33. That's a decent number. So we're seeing our cluster back here at Kauai, starting to cluster again, and so on. Now let's see if I got all of them that were 2.5 magnitude or higher. Yeah, I got that one down in Baja. So all of these down in Southern California are smaller than that. Yeah, I got those. Here's another blast. 1.1 magnitude quarry blast near home gardens. So a lot of blasting going on. I saw that one. We saw that one. Now let's come up this west coast. Here's a 2 right on the coast. 1.9 and 1.8 near San Simon. Here's a 1.1 San Ardo. 1.7 and 0.7 at Pinnacles. Look at all of these are in pairs. 0.6 and 0.5 San Juan Bautista. Ooh, look at this. Here's a 1.0 Oakland, 1.0 Orinda, 1.7 East Richmond Heights. This is all in the San Francisco area. 1.3 magnitude quarry blast Vallejo. Here's a 2.2 Harrodsburg, 1.7 Red Valley, and the geysers has 35 here today. So 2.0, that's one of the larger ones. Most of these are under 1 or just low ones range. Here's a 1.9. 2.0. So there's that. Here's a new one, a 2.1 at Tehachapi. Let's see if anything else came in while we were recording that I need to show everybody. Here's a 2.5 Larsen Bay. That just came in. I think that's it. I think that's a wrap. So go ahead and wind it up for tonight with this midweek. So the way I like to end all my shows is to tell everybody that I do believe we are in the end times. The reason I'm tracking earthquakes so diligently is because the Bible says that in the end times, one of the signs of being in the end times, Jesus said that there will be earthquakes in diverse places. And so earthquakes also play into abrupt climate change. And a lot of the people who track abrupt climate change don't include earthquakes. So I'm trying to make a connection here with everything. So this is just to help us keep a pulse on Mother Earth. So I do believe we are in the end times, and we need to all get our spiritual houses in order while we still have time. So until next time, God bless you. Go in peace, and good night.